There's never been a better time than now to stop what you're doing and tune in to Straight Up, TAB Radio's weekly podcast that will guide you through the difficult journey that is the punt. Whether it be racing or sport, the Straight Up team has your back. Now, from the studios of TAB Radio, welcome to Straight Up.
Yes, we're here at Gloucester Park and Rylie Morgan joins us. Hi, Riles.
Hello, Marty. How are you?
Oh, well, top of our game, 31 degrees. It's been back to 27.6. Finally, a little bit of hot weather.
Doesn't stop you from keeping the hoodie on?
No. For very good reasons. Very good reasons. We've got plenty to do, and our special guest for Dankz Furniture, Mick McGuane, he's coming up next.
McGuane gets past Brown. They're lifting the pies. They can sense it. McGuane's had 5 bounces. Nearly get another one. Round he goes. In he goes to an open goal. Mickey McGuane, goal of the year.
Mick McGuane joins us on Straight Up for this AFL preview thanks to Dankz Furniture.
You won't see better than that.
With 6 local stores in the metro area, there's one near you.
Very good afternoon, Mick.
G'day, Marty. G'day, Rylie. Once again, pleasure to be with you boys.
Pleasure to have you joining us, Mick. How are you? How's the week been so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty good after a pretty strenuous week of racing over here with the VRC Carnival at Flemington. Magnificent 4 days racing. J-Mac was the star of the show, as we all know. And Via Festina probably, with its Cox Plate victory and then backing it up on Champions Day. It's going to be a horse we're going to talk about for a period of time, I think.
Yeah, she was very good. I'll just give you these dividends. Bunbury, race 3, 5.11, 6.2. Lady Tremaine, W Pike, 5.10, $1.40. Casa Vina, 9.10. Hot Like Chili, 4.30. Quinella, 109 even. The Exacta, 154.40. Trifecta, $1,450.90. And the first 4, 5.11, 6.2, $5,886.90. 3 and 5, the double, 123.40. Number 13, the scratching.
Now, Mick, over the last couple of days, we've had, I guess, little chunks of the fixture for next year leaked in dribs and drabs by certain journalists over in your neck of the woods, and that full fixture has now dropped as of a little bit earlier today. For you, having a look at how that fixturing has been set up for next year, who are some of perhaps the winners and losers in your eyes?
Well, the team that played finals this year, when you look at their draw, and I'm talking about the Carlton Footy Club, and you want to sort of rank easiest versus hardest, you look at their fixturing, the games they're playing, where and who they play against. I reckon they've been the winner of the fixture, considering where they finished this year and even last year. And I reckon on face value, I think it's fair to say they've probably got an easier draw than a West Coast Eagles are in this rebuild phase. How does that work? How does that happen? I can't understand it.
Gee, they look after the Blues at AFL House, don't they?
It's the AFL. But just before we get into the individual teams like you have, what were your thoughts on this marketing of, drip feeding us like we're chickens in the pen, and they're giving us a little bit of wheat to go on with every day, Mick?
Yeah, it's a bit like the old pub test. Let's try to condition them, get the feedback. We'll just add little layers and put out their dribs and drabs and see if there's any negativity around it, and then they might sort of revisit the discussion that they're trying to sort of more or less drip feed the public. And they do that with a number of issues. There's no question about that. Yep. It's a litmus test. But in saying that, the Thursday night games is probably a bone of contention over here, particularly with families and kids that want to go and support their club being a school night. Bit different to watching it live on telly, isn't it, compared to being there watching it live. That's probably the negative out of the Thursday night fixturing. And you've got a lot of suburban clubs that have their major training session with selection, meals, all that sort of stuff. And it's good to occupy space when a game of footy's on, but you're going to miss the start on most fronts when you're talking about, 7:30 kickoff. Some clubs are still training out in the track, and selection doesn't finish till 8:30, 9 o'clock in some cases. Not that that's the case with the club I'm at. But I just think for the greater good of the game, are we losing eyes on the game that we all love?
I can see the point, Marty, in terms of, Thursday night, it isn't the end of the working week yet. Their families aren't going to be able to get to the games for whatever commitments, or even watch some of them, local sport, state league sport, people are going to miss out on seeing a large chunk of these fixtures on the Thursday nights. But I'm a big fan myself. Yep. I love it. I think it's something that, we've had the taster of it over the last couple of years. I think it's worked really well, and I'm really glad, given the track record of AFL House almost biting the hand that feeds them in certain cases over the last 24 months, that they've actually listened to a lot of the feedback, I think, around these Thursday night games that has been positive and implemented it heading into next year.
Yeah, well, it's just an interesting discussion point, and I feel for the country folk. Say there's a quality game at the MCG, and you look at the fixturing up at the Gabba. Say in opening round, you got the reigning premier taking on Geelong, but a lot of people thought would win this year's premiership based on the year they had. And it's in opening round. It's a 7:50 start. It's late. It's a Thursday night, and if people have to travel from the Gold Coast down the highway, for example, would they do it at the risk of getting home at 1 o'clock in the morning? They probably don't. And that's just unfortunate when you got kids that love the game. They might love the Brisbane. They might be Geelong supporters. They might be football lovers in general who want to go and watch a good game of footy. If there's a decision to be made, do we take little Johnny and little Betty and put them in the car to go and watch that game? Most will say, no, it's too late. Another day of school tomorrow. You've got some homework to do. We've got the weekend to get through. They probably don't do it.
Yeah, it's it's the argument that some people will have, and I'm sure it's going to be an interesting year in terms of how well received it is and what they've anticipated with it over the next 12 months. And those, I think, 21 out of the 23 weeks is Thursday night games, so there's only 2 weeks during next season that there won't be football on that Thursday night, mate.
Yeah. Well, we're all asking for it, weren't we, this year? We loved it when it disappeared off our screens, we missed it. So you've got to be with the AFL on that one, I think. Hey, Mick, and what about our listeners on that Retrovision text line, 0427 789 571? Send in what you think about your team's fixtures for this season. Simple. Tell us if you're a West Coaster, you're happy or unhappy with your fixturing for this next year's season. So, Mick, the winners and losers out of it, who are the biggest winners apart from Carlton?
I'd have to say Melbourne are in that conversation as well. I thought their draw looked pretty good on face value. You look at them right from the outset, they're not in opening round. Their season kicks off, obviously, in round one when the 9 games do take place. They've got a big season in front of them, the Demons. A lot's going to be on their players because Petrarca, Oliver have been in the news over here for a period of time. They've reconnected to the footy club. Petrarca's gone his own way about getting fit and healthy on the back of that serious injury. There was a lot of discussion. You're putting training over your club best and fairest, even though you missed a portion of a year. Oliver, did he really want out, or was it paper talk? How much did he really want to pursue it? Now he's back in the fold to commit to his contract. Can he get fit again? What's his lifestyle like? How much say is Max Gawn going to have in proceedings with Jack Viney, who are both strong personalities? Is Simon Goodwin going to compromise standards like he did at the early stages of last year? Because I think there's a lot of eyeballs on Melbourne. They were very successful a few years ago, as we know. They won a flag in the West. But they've certainly been a disappointing team in the last couple of years, going out in 4 finals, not won one. And this year they didn't look like participating. So as much as the draw looks healthy for them, they've still got a lot to prove.
Now, Mick, I know he's not exactly entitled to by the letter of the law, but we see year on year, early doors, when the first to fourth year players return for their first day of pre-season training, we see a lot of the more senior players at a lot of clubs show up on day one to be, I guess, around the group and a positive influence at that early stage. It can be quite obviously a tough period for those younger players getting back into the swing of things. Did it surprise you at all that Clayton Oliver wasn't there on day one, ready to rock and roll, given what has transpired over the last 12 months?
Yeah. I sometimes think that you've got to put yourself in the shoes of others, and I'm not saying it's always right, but with the speculation, the disconnect that was a narrative that he wanted out, to silence those critics, I would have walked through that door probably 3 days earlier to say, here I am. I'm not going nowhere. I'm doing extras. I'm going to get myself as fit as hands can possibly make me. I'm going to support the sport science people that are going to push me to probably depths I've never gone to before, to test my pain threshold, to manufacture the body that I know is capable of playing good footy like I was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And it did surprise me. And then you look at other clubs who are hungry, and I know Collingwood are hungry, to see the amount of senior elder statesmen come back when they didn't have to come back. I think that's a sign of buy-in. I think it's a sign of commitment, sacrifice, to ensure that you're ready to make sure you don't hit the ground running like Collingwood did this year when they were slow to start. And they're playing catch-up from that point. And I think Melbourne have sort of been a little bit inconsistent based on attitude. And Clayton, I thought, had a chance to silence those attitudinal conversations that where he's actually at in his life, but also in his footy.
Talking to Mick McGuane, he's brought to us by Dankz Furniture. The comfort of home, 6 stores in the metro area. There's one near you. To go to dankz.com.au. Mick, we're going through our 3 teams week by week. We're up to Melbourne, North Melbourne and Port. Let's get into the Melbourne Demons.
Yeah, well, I think it's a lot dependent on this cultural discussion that's been happening for a couple of years. How real is it? How are they going to change it? Who's going to lead the way to change it? And I've always been a believer, Marty and Riley, that your actions say more than words. And I think they've got the chance to really get to work over this summer period. When they're fit and they're up and about with their run capabilities they've got, and they've lost one of their best runners, I must say, Neil Bullen.
Yeah.
To the Adelaide Crows. They'll miss him big time because he's a connection piece, gets up at stoppage to saturate, but really gets back in to add support with their ball movement by getting into good spots, and then he applies great pressure if their forwards don't win it. So he'll be sadly missed. But I think as a collective, they've just got to up and down inside those 4 walls and just get to work and be as fit as they possibly can get. And then on the back of their talent they've got, if Oliver and Petrarca and Gawn and Viney, Stephen May, Fritz, who's probably been a bit of a lost sheep as well at times, they've got the talent to beat many teams in the competition, but it's about consistency for them, and on the back of the consistency, to get it right, you've got to do the work. They can't pick and choose with work rate, they can't pick and choose with their effort, they can't pick and choose with their consistency of work rate, and that's where I think they have to narrow the gap with other clubs in the competition. If they do that, they can certainly play top 8 footy.
It's a big year for them, isn't it, Marty? It's a big, big year for Melbourne next year, I think. And as you mentioned, the consistency...
A lot depends, Riley, too. A lot depends on what they do with 5 and 9 in this year's draft, because there's going to be some good talent. Which way will they go? Depending on who's left at 5, I think they'll try to add to their midfield mix, and there could be any one of 3 or 4 good midfielders left after... there's a lot of talk that Layla will go to Richmond. North are into a really good, promising young kid that I put on the table a couple of weeks ago with you boys, Alexander Taru. And then what do Carlton do? Do they look at a thicker body, bigger body midfielder, or they go with quick feet to complement Cripps and Hewitt and get a Jagger Smith if he's still available? So I think there's a lot to play out at Melbourne. But if they get 2 really good players out of their selections at this stage of 5 and 9 to complement the midfield group of a fit Oliver, Kasiah Pickett rolls through there as occasionally. Petrarca's a star, Viney's a star, Gawn, best ruckman in the comp. They can certainly make inroads and make inroads very quickly.
They get a look at it. As you said, Mick, good draw. This is how it goes. I think MCG, GWS in round 1. Then they've got North Melbourne round 2 at Marvel. Round 3, Gold Coast, MCG. Round 4, they go down to Geelong. Round 5, Essendon at Adelaide Oval. And round 6, they've got the Dockers at the MCG. So that's a pretty kind first 6 weeks, I think, for Melbourne.
Absolutely. There's no question about that, Marty. You're 100% correct. And this is why, as much as you're probably not forecasting your mindset beyond round 1, because you all want to be there round 1, fit and able, I reckon there'd be some sneaky looks at that fixturing and say, gee, we've got a chance to set up our season if we hit the ground running and we play to our best, particularly against some of the teams where they play them at. That can be an advantage as well. So they should be optimistic, but you've still got to do the work.
It's been almost a never-ending abyss of disappointment for North Melbourne fans over the last few years, Mick, and over this trade period they've been able to add some senior experience through players like Jack Darling, which from my standpoint I'm still unsure as to what he will bring from an on-field sense. I know that he's going to certainly increase the professionalism and the training standards off-field. Caleb Daniel from the Bulldogs and Luke Parker from the Sydney Swans. How do you see the way North Melbourne's list now shapes heading into a pretty big year for the footy club once again?
I've got no idea, Riley, what to expect. I was surprised with the Darling recruitment. Parker, from a leadership perspective, I get it, particularly with their younger midfielders. And I think he'll supply real good, strong on-field leadership. His communication, I don't know whether you heard it when he was mic'd up in one game, just his organisation, his pointing, his direction, his positivity, his challenging, all those sort of stuff out on the footy field. We, the spectators in the grandstands, don't really hear that. But when you've got an opportunity to listen to a bloke firsthand, a bit like Luke Hodge, how they really direct traffic, they're worth their weight in gold in AFL footy. They go outside their own game for the sake of others. That's what Parker will bring on field to these young organised players who think they're probably not far away, but they'll be better equipped with Luke Parker being the traffic cop out there. I agree with you with Darling. I've admired Jack for a long period of time from afar, love his professionalism, love his work rate. Yes, he's a straight line forward, basically, leads straight at the leg of the kicker. He's a tram track leader. Does he get back in behind the defence like he used to? No. Does he kick goals that matter now because his body's a bit older? No. So there's a lot of queries over him, but one thing you did point out, he will bring an appetite for hard work and professionalism to keep his body in shape to still give himself a chance to compete. And Caleb Daniel's the interesting one. As much as he was spoken about a lot over here, I watched him a couple of times live. I went to watch a couple of VFL games when I could. There's one game at Etihad Stadium that stuck out to my eyes. Rory Lobb played in that game, so did Caleb Daniel, so did Jason Johannesson. They played Essendon. And I just thought, watching him then, in that type of level of footy, he just lacked a little bit of speed. And you can see why Beveridge played him as a sub a lot, because he knows how to get it. He knows what to do with it. But just his speed across the ground could be a concern. So I'm really intrigued as to why they've gone down this path. Are they going to influence games? Possibly, possibly not. Will they increase their training standards based on being in the system for a long time? Yes, they will. Will they provide strong leadership? Yes, they will. But let's face it, if you hit that wall and you hit the wall pretty quickly when you're at the twilight of your career, it can go pear-shaped pretty quickly as well.
First 6 weeks for North, they play Western Bulldogs at Marvel in week 1. Then they've got Melbourne at Marvel, Adelaide in Adelaide, Sydney at Marvel, Gold Coast at Barossa Park, and then Carlton at Marvel. So
tough. Very tough start.
Yep.
Absolutely, it's tough. And, you know, once again, you come back to that first brick on the wall to play the Western Bulldogs in round 1 in a night game. They're the ones that you've got to try to bank early to summon up the morale and the confidence that what you've done over the summer with Clarkson being at the helm again. It just sort of gives you belief and confidence that we're doing it a certain way, and when you see it play out and you win games of footy because of it, that's when you derive great benefit from those experiences and lessons. But you look at that draw, it's difficult. If they're sort of 1 and 5 or 0 and 6 at that 6th round mark,
long way back.
Questions are going to be asked.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistency with them and their ability to stay in games for longer has been a massive issue for them over the last few years, Mick. But I think if North Melbourne are going to improve again, and I think they have some young players that are going to lift again next year, but if they are going to improve, particularly their injuries to their key position stocks over the last couple of seasons, which haven't helped them at all, they need to get some consistent footy out of those players this year if they are going to rise back up the ladder.
Yeah, I've always questioned their key stock defenders. Compton was a revelation for a period of this year when he went back. Core was injured at that time. He got back in. They put some money into him, getting him back from GWS. And then in front of the ball, as good as Nick Larkey's been a beacon. He clearly needs some supply and support. The supply will come, I think, with the McKirches and the Sheasels of the world who do use the ball well. They buy time and space to make sure they're creative with their ball use and decision-making, which will complement the confidence that's required for that midst to forward connection. I just worry about Zerha. How impactful can he be? I thought he had the attributes to be a Jordan De Goey type that can really hit the scoreboard when he's isolated in front half, but also can go up to the midfield and impact the game with his power. But does he work the other way once the ball's out of his area? He doesn't reference really quickly. That's not a part of him once he's up as a midfielder. So he's got to add layers to his game, I think, to be the impactful player that I know he can be. But I reckon Larkey is one player that has been a shining light, but he certainly needs some support for North Melbourne to grow up the ladder, and that's maybe the reason as to why they got a Jack Darling that can provide another avenue to golf.
Gee, for an interstate team, Port, they are a much spoken about team. What can we expect for 2025?
Well, I think we'll see a consistent team that just provides a winning mentality in the home and away season, but they certainly find a way to get beat at the back end of the year when you have to win. Jack Lukosius, interesting recruit. I've always rated him highly from his draft period, watching him as a young kid. A bit laconic. That's okay. David Rhys-Jones was laconic, but he could find space and won a Norm Smith medal against Dermot Brereton in a grand final in 87, I think it was, by memory. And Lukosius has got these attributes, can play back, can go forward, can kick a goal, can set up play with his penetrating leg. Richards is an interesting one. Obviously, they've seen something in him to give him a secure contract over a period of time. So that's a positive. But I'm also sort of thinking that where's he going to fit into that front half mix? Houston's a big loss for them. I love his ball use. I reckon he's aggressive. He lines his decisions out of back half with his aggressive leg to the way Port Adelaide want to play through the corridor and get speed on the game at every opportunity. And I just see Houston as a massive loss. Can he be replaced by a Lukosius type who might play behind the ball? I reckon it's watch this space with Port. I admire what they do as a club. They're always thereabouts. The gap between being a good home and away team to winning a premiership pretty quickly.
Gee, I'm excited to see if their on-ball brigade of Butters, Rosie, and particularly Marty Horne-Francis can go to another level next year.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're a great threesome in a way. They're dynamic. They've got great speed. The offensive switch is always far superior than their defensive one. I think we've seen time and time again through vision, whether it be on AFL 360 or on the couch, sitting back just watching the analysts go about it. And you can see their defensive transition wasn't as great as their offensive attack. So they have to really work on that phase of the game because there's so many good midfielders in this competition. If they get hold of you and you're not defending that part of the ground, with the open looks they get, with the forward line some clubs have got, they can do some serious damage against you. So I think that's an area of improvement. If they get that balance right, that D2 cover, and their D1 cover power at the ball, I think they're going to be much better equipped.
Let's have a look at their first 6 games. They have the bye in opening round. They play Collingwood in round 1 at the MCG. They play Richmond at Adelaide Oval round 2. Essendon at Marvel in round 3. St Kilda, Adelaide round 4. They're playing Hawthorn at Adelaide Oval round 5 and then Sydney in Sydney round 6.
Yeah, once again, that's an intriguing draw, isn't it? Like, you'd hope they'd get their season starting in a positive vein, but Collingwood, the MCG of round 1 is no easy beat, and Collingwood generally play the MCG well, and Port Adelaide have had some issues with Collingwood at that venue. And then all of a sudden you look into their round 2 clash, as you mentioned. That's going to be challenging as well against a younger generation team in Richmond with a lot of their probably emerging talent they'll get onto their list come next Wednesday. You'd think they'd win that and cement their first win for the season. And then it sort of gets, that precarious
one for one.
pace, I suppose. Yeah, and they've just got to sort of keep adding to their win-loss ratio as quickly as they possibly can, because we know they are a winning club, and the Thursday night game in round 3 at Marvel Stadium against Essendon will be a must-watch. And we played at breakneck speed. Essendon will attack the game, so will Port Adelaide. But if they lose those 2 games on the road in their first 3 games, it could be a mountain to climb.
I think if you get a massive pre-season under his belt and he really puts his nose to the grindstone and builds that running capability and ability to cover the ground better than he has, up until this point of his career, Jason Horne-Francis will be an All-Australian at the end of next year.
Yeah, I think that's a very good call. I just love the way he plays his footy. He is dynamic. He's got that sort of younger boldness about him, like a Dangerfield that could be a powerful midfielder, explode away, set up and execute probably a little bit better than Danger with his feet, but also go to a forward line and be isolated and be an aerial threat, but also dangerous at ground level when he brings the ball to ground and manufacture a hard goal, which he's done time and time again this year, and that's why he's such a difficult matchup. So, yes, I concur. Another pre-season, at home, a year stronger, understands the game more often. He's going to be a player to watch for sure.
Okay, Mick, time now to find a winner. We're going to Kilmore for the hardest.
Yeah, Kilmore Trots tonight. It's an interesting meeting there, Marty. I thought there might be a couple of value plays. In race 3 on the program, I want to have something on number 7, Fate Collection. Unfortunately, it's been knocked off in the marketplace over here. It should be around probably the 7-2 mark, 4-1 mark on an each-way basis, Fate Collection. Over the short trip, I think it'll suit. Got the difficult outside draw. The Glen Bulls horses are going pretty well over here. I could back it and probably save on a horse that's drawn inside it in Royal Edard. I think the favourite hair raiser is the Hervison Tax that you're paying at the moment. It's short enough in the marketplace, and even its stablemate Tex goes bang, even though it's got the services of Chris Alford. I think they're just unders, and it creates opportunity to back those two other horses, numbers 7 and 6 in race 3 on the program.
Yes.
Race 4 of back number 10 each way at $17. I think it's got a terrific each way chance, and that's Salsa with Sierra. Eva Justice is driving it for the Hovan stable. This race sets up okay for it. There might be a bit of speed here, might be some action early. The two favourites, Maxi Bomber first up, it's a big query for the Herbertson stable. It's been $4 into $2.90 over here, so it's been well tried in the fixed odds marketplace, and so is Chris Alford's horse number 6, another puddin'. But I think on an each way basis with the value that it was, and I think it's still double figure odds last time I looked before we went on air, I think that horse has got a terrific each way chance as well. And the other one I want to leave our listeners with, I think we might have to wait till the last. There's a horse in the last that I think will run well first up. Sea Alford's in the bike. They did put up $19. I've had something each way on it at the good odds. I reckon it'll start around $6, maybe $5.50. I think it represents value still. Last time I looked, it was around $12.
$7.50.
When I went on air. It's been knocked off to $7.50. Okay, yeah. Well, I think it was clearly the wrong odds, and I think it might run really well on an each way basis, Marty.
So race 9, number 4. So we're race 3, 7 saved the 6. Race 4, 10 each way, and then race 9, number 4.
Plenty of value there.
Yep. Oh, mix of value, man.
Yeah, there's some value. Yeah, I don't mind the value. I think if you can sort of get it, and then you can probably trade out if you need to. If they get into crunch the numbers, you can certainly lay it back and do what you do best.
Well done, Mick. You're here for Dankz Furniture, the comfort of home, 6 great locations, Osborne Park, Joondalup, Willerton, Port Kennedy, Midland and Mandurah. Family owned and run for 50 years. Clayton and Michael Arnold are keen supporters of the racing industry here in WA. Go to danks.com.au. Thanks for coming on today, Mick, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks, Mick.
Good on you, Riley. Thanks, Marty. Have a great weekend, boys.
Because we're heading across to Melbourne, catching up with a real good old mate of ours who joins us now, Josh Rodder. A very good afternoon. Welcome to Straight Up.
Good afternoon, Marty, and good afternoon to all the WA TABradio listeners. It's a beautiful spring evening here in Melbourne, and looking forward to a big day at Caulfield on Saturday for Schweppes Caulfield 1000.
I did introduce my co-partner here in Rylie Morgan.
How are you, Josh?
Good, Riley. How are you?
Going very well. I don't know if I'm as well as you, though, in the lead up to this meeting this Saturday at Caulfield. You must be very excited with this field that has assembled for the Group 1 Sir Rupert Clark and also for the Fillies and the 1,000 Guineas.
Yeah, certainly are, Riley. Last year was the first time we set up this program, and it was a big success in terms of the racing. Jolly Star beat Komochi and Skybird in the 1,000 Guineas, and of course Magic Time was dominant, winning the Rupert Clark Stakes. All that form's held up, and I think again this year you can see trainers have just had to adjust, and any of those horses that may have had a setback early in the spring or needed a bigger break following the Sydney Autumn or the Queensland Winter have been able to aim up at this program. I think the 1,000 Guineas has some real depth. I think the 3-year-old crop are quite strong. I think they'll train on and be nice older horses. And the Sarupa Clark, the cream at the top is very, very classy, and it's going to be a great contest.
Josh, I know there was a bit of conjecture with some of the movements from a programming perspective over there with this meeting we have now, but just listening over the last few days to some Melbourne radio, is it the fields that have assembled and how this meeting has been received from trainers and industry participants over there has been, you must be very happy with how it has been received?
Yeah, I'm very happy, Riley. As you can see, the field speak for themselves there on Saturday. Got many of the big trainers, the big jockeys hanging around. And, of course, J-Mac. He's the one making all the noise for racing. Isn't he fantastic? The great ambassador he is. He's flying in for 2 rides before he steps off to Hong Kong on Sunday. So that shows you the standard of the meeting. And that's the cut-through we need. I have to say this spring, I'm so pumped. 15 years working at the Melbourne Racing Club. I will say at the MRC, across to Moonee Valley and the VRC, it's the best carnival I've been a part of, not just for the stories on the track, the likes of Harry Coffey, the Caulfield Cup, be it Sistina's dominant performance in the Cox Plate, of course, Andrew Lewis and Jamie Carr combining for South Australia in the Derby and the Melbourne Cup with Sheila Laxton and John Simons. But the crowd off the track, such a young, engaged audience that I haven't seen in racing for a long time. They dressed up for the occasion. They were sharp. They were engaged at the sport. They were on the front lawns watching the racing. And as you saw last Saturday with J-Max, outstanding riding. He really has these young racegoers, not just male and female, engaged with the sport. So me as a racing administrator here in Melbourne, I'm really excited. I'm sure you guys for the Pinnacles, so I'm sure you'll see the same. Racing really is going through a renaissance with the younger audience.
We've already seen that with the crowds so far this season back at Ascot, and no doubt there's going to be a big crowd there on Saturday again as well. Josh, let's stay with J-Mac and Chris Waller. They are a formidable combination. Can they get it done in the 1,000 guineas with Aliana?
She was very impressive in the Carbine Club, Marty. She had the Guineas, Caulfield Guineas runner-up behind her on that occasion, sat back. They ran along at a good, genuine tempo, and her turn of foot was electric late. There wasn't much between her and Dominetta in Sydney at the start before, but I still like that win in Sydney. She had to go back to the inside, and she again showed that really good turn of foot. She's going to need that from gate 11. Yep. It's going to be a scorcher here on Saturday at Caulfield, 34 degrees. We had rain yesterday, about 8 mils at Caulfield. The sprinklers were on again today. Dan Bennett and his team will pour the water into the track, but Caulfield, the rail's out 6 metres. It's a track it's a speed track. And if horses on speed can get away with any cheap sectionals, it can be hard to come from the back. I think J-Mac will know that. Barrier 11, he'll probably look to be 3 deep, 1 back with a bit of cover. He won't want to drag back too far and give any of those on-speeders too much of a start. But I think Aliana out of the Carbine Club, Z-Tongue, out of the Vanity, that looks the best form. But I also do think some value for multiple players will be Superlicious and Stage and Screen. They had no luck from the gates last start in that Amanda Elliott against the boys. Both drawn well. I think they can race a lot more prominent from their gates, and they're the two you probably want to put in your multiples. But I do think Aliana's the one to beat. I think Z-Tongue from the good draw will look the winner at some stage, and I think those other two, Stage and Screen and Superlicious, can run well from better draws.
It's interesting. We actually had a chat to Will Larkin on TABradio a little bit earlier in the week, and I asked him about this filly, Supercilious, and I guess how their confidence levels are with her and whether she's potentially been overlooked a little bit by the market off her run last start where she was just held up behind runners and she got out and hit the line strongly, and Will was of the belief, and so were Leon and Troy, that the miles may be the query with her, and they aren't convinced that she's going to see it out. But from that inside draw, you'd suggest if she can find a nice little cuddle and present at the right time. I thought she hit the line last start, Josh, like she could certainly have a say in the finish in this race.
Yeah, I think she's a classy filly. She is by Written Tycoon out of Golconda. Filly that's been fantastic at stud. Golconda, Robbie Lang trained her. She was a speed filly, so you might be right long-term at the mile, but I just thought from the good draw, as you said, she's got a good turn of foot and she does look very classy. I think she can be thereabouts.
How about Sarupa Clark Stakes? Time-honoured race there at Caulfield over the 1400. It's Not often you get a Group 1 1,400-metre race anywhere around the country. And what about this race, Josh? What's caught your eye here?
You're right, Marty. This has been a great race for many years, and as your WA listeners would know, it was Damien Oliver's first Group 1 in this race for Bart Cummings in 1990 aboard Submariner. It's a race that Craig Williams has won 6 times. He takes the ride on Komochi. Interestingly enough, Craig's father, Alan Williams, won the race in 1976 as a jockey and as a trainer in 1993 on Black Rouge. So the Williams family have a great association with this race. They actually combined early in the day in the village on Holy Racket, so that might be one to watch. But, yeah, I think Kieran Maher holds the lead hand here. You know, Southport Tycoon at the top of the weight. The informed duo of Jimmy Starr and Another Will, I think those three stand out to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that race at Flemington, it wasn't a big race or anything, but wasn't it a fantastic race? Blake Shin knew that Another Will and Jamie Carr were back on the inside. He's a great tactical rider, Blake Shin. He pulled Jimmy Starr to the middle of the track, and I know I was chips in Jimmy Starr that day. I thought it was panning out exactly how I thought, and you could hear the betting ring and the crowd start to roar Jimmy Starr as he ripped down the middle of the track. But Another Will, despite being held up, he was far too good, wasn't he? You know, that turn of foot. He was ridden upside down and gassed in the Toorak. Got a great record at the Caulfield 1400. You swap the barriers here. You know, Jimmy Starr goes back inside. He's going to go back and need luck for Damien Lane. And Another Will is going to be in that stalking spot. I'm leaning to Another Will.
Yep.
I'm surprised the market early opened up Jimmy Starr shorter than Another Will. I think he's the way to go. Southport Tycoon, question mark with the weight and the gait. But he's a good horse. And I thought Climbing Star could be one that's crept under the radar. She was good through the South Australia Carnival in the autumn, winning the Robert Sangster and placed in a Goodwood. And Mooney Valley running the Manikato first up, she was luckless. And she was very good again in Sydney last start in the Sydney Stakes. Philip Stokes said after that run, I'm going to freshen her up for the 1400 at Caulfield. She's raced well at Caulfield in the past, and she's drawn well there for Daniel Stackhouse. She's around that $15, $16 mark and could be some value for the multiples. I think there's a bit of a tail to the race, but the top of the field's got some real quality.
No love for Charmstone?
Yeah, I suppose it's a different form, Riley. I just wonder at that 1400 with Buffalo River and Gentleman Roy really turning it on from the 600 metres, whether Charmstone can finish as strong as those sort of horses like Jimmy Starr and Another Will. She was good to see her back in form last start, but I just am worried in a high pressure 1400 where they lip rip from the 600, whether she can be as strong as the others on the line.
Now, Joshy, I heard you during the week. You were down at track work on Tuesday, and for RSN you found a couple of roughies. Can you impart them to our listeners over here in the West?
Yes, Marty, I can. It was a beautiful morning on Tuesday. Kaizad, Gay Waterhouse, race 3, sat on speed and got tired, run over late at Geelong. Carbine Club Stakes winner. Just like the way this horse worked at Caulfield on Tuesday. And in a benchmark race there, race 3 at a bit of value, I thought was a nice each-way play in an even race. And then over to race 10, Chris Lees combining with Mark Zara, Infancy. 2 very, very good red light runs, one in Sydney, Sectional Star, and then again at Flemington the other day. They just went steady up the straight, and they left her a bit when they sprinted. I think Caulfield, high pressure, last race of the day. Mark Zara giving her a bit of room. I thought Infancy worked strong with Extremely Rowdy there on Tuesday, and she presented a bit of value each way. That's Infancy in the last. And in the Blue Sapphire, I thought the best bet of the day was Coleman. He's a quality colt. He's been set a little bit of a task running in those high-end open-age races. He was good. He was solid in the Coolmore, and I think back to his own age, 1400 at Caulfield, I thought we could see the real Coleman there on Saturday. But a cracking card, and really looking forward to putting on a show there at Caulfield on Saturday.
It's Group 1 action. You'll put on the show, Joshy. Don't worry about that. Bow tie on?
Yes, bow tie on. Probably jacket off.
Braces?
And sleeves rolled up, 34 degrees.
Braces?
So we're trying to keep cool. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good at the moment with the pants, so we'll go with just the normal belt. And really looking forward to, after the last, I've got the kids and Talia coming.
Yes.
Those acoustic Sundays on the radio here in Melbourne. They've become fans of John Stevens.
Yes.
So buy Noiseworks out of In Excess for those younger listeners. He'll put on a great show after the last. So looking forward to a great atmosphere at Caulfield on Saturday.
So the Rotters will be rocking and rolling. You go back into your function. Give Taylor a good cuddle for all of us over here in the West. We love her. Well done, Josh. You have a big day on Saturday.
Thanks, team, and enjoy the Pinnacles. It's going to be a great show. Looking forward to watching from the East.
The Perth Racing Preview is where the Straight Up team finds you the winners, and here's the Straight Up team with their preview of Saturday racing from Ascot.
Ah, yes, it is. McGinnity's here. Very good afternoon. It's Pinnacles at your top today.
Bart.
Bradley.
He's got the funny headphones. I'll have a look.
Got a great story for you, Rolls.
Bash.
They just had, obviously just had Joshy Rodder on.
JR.
When he finished up at Perth Racing. I thought, there might be a job going. I was just young and pretty keen to get in. And I bumped into Mart at Ascot. Normally he doesn't let the rank and file sort of come near him, but I managed to sneak my way in and say, hi, Mart. Name's Brad, just looking for a gig, hoping there's something available now that Josh is gone. He goes, no, we're not hiring, mate.
Thanks, Champion.
And just turned around and walked off.
Off you go, Champion.
I can't remember that, but I can't remember a lot of things, so I'm not going to refute it either. Next event coming up from Bunbury, race number 5, is a very special race. It's the Swan Draft Maiden.
Time-honoured.
Do the strappers all come out in the Swan Draft tunics? I liked the look of them yesterday. Did you notice that?
The tunics?
Yeah, the tunics over the top.
No, I didn't see those.
Oh, yeah, they look like Kansas Swan Draft.
It looked great on Cup Day.
Yeah. I just felt like drinking one of them.
See the umbrellas there too, looking
Look at those.
splendid.
Look at those tables out in the sun.
Oh, magnificent. What are we doing here? Fire the Guard is 16 out from 10 for Lucy. Hyper Real is 750. Boss Holiday 101. Gorillas in the Mist 61. Superior Kingdoms 41. Outlaw Music is 15. Zia $10 from 16. Surf Patrol 4 to 5. Fast Harry $2.05 from $2.50. Ranks is $8.50 a drifter. Elegant Peak is out to $34, and Toluca drifts out to $41. So that's our next event from Bunbury in 15. Northern Chasing doesn't get underway at 6:56, so we'll get a clean run at it today. And text line is open on 0427 789 571.
Now, it's open.
It's open.
It's open.
I've never seen a race at midweeks like yesterday blow up the text line like this one here.
Going gangbusters in front. Rapid Rock by 2 on patrol down inside the last 100. Rapid Rock shortening stride. On patrol's going to get square, grab the lead and get the job done today. On patrol back into the winners list.
370 on patrol's the big class dropper in race number 4, boys. Braden Garth takes the mountain. 59 kilos is the result. Golden Door 480. Don't Trust Judas 480 and Southern Scandal $6. Can On Patrol break through, Terry?
Nah. I'm never backing tipping. I don't want anything to do, and it's favourite. I don't want anything to do with On Patrol for the rest of my life, to be honest with you. So, reckon I've fallen into him.
Is that just on the horse's form, or have you had some bad experiences with him?
Don't trust Judas or On Patrol for that matter.
Oh, well. Did the text line blow up yesterday? They said, haven't they done a good job on this one? Some of your best work there, Rolls. You and your big fella, big Tezza.
Well, I had nothing to do with that, by the way. That little bus
when you're 1 from 19 or 1 from 20 or whatever it was, if you continue to back those horses, Mart, you generally finish below the ledger.
I know a lot of our listeners jumped on. That was a decent sort of a reverse mock, wasn't it?
It did get out to
I have a bit of a bone to pick with you as well, listening to Racing Rewind on Sunday.
Yeah.
And you were sitting in the studio here and harping on about how none of the tipsters in the building are any good or tip any winners. And I'm sitting there going, hang on a minute, does Mart just not pay attention to anything we tip on this show? Is it only the other shows you listen to?
No. Get it right. That was a tipster. That was a texter who I was reading his text, remember?
Oh, it was good to see you going to bat for us anyway, mate.
And he actually was talking about the boys from Inside Running and how they had gone on the Saturday. And then we mentioned the great man, Cobb McCauley's effort the previous week when he tipped the Lazy Six.
Oh, the great man.
Yeah.
He'd be listening down the line too.
Yeah, he should be.
Well, why do you think Marty said it? He was asked to.
Just another one on the payroll.
So what are we going to do out there on Saturday?
Hopefully back a couple of winners.
And that previously mentioned Swan Draft might get a run too, Mark.
5 stakes races.
What a
They're
card.
going to come at us left, right and centre.
And Joker's Grin going around as well.
Oh.
Horse flesh rolls.
3 metres the entire rail. Weather?
Perfect.
It's a funny one, isn't it? Southerly, southeasterly?
First time we've seen sight of an easterly this season, so it will be interesting, Marty.
Gee, they found it a bit difficult last week on the fence.
Very difficult. It was quicksand,
So
I would have thought.
3 metres. Thoughts? That's better?
Yes.
Being said, I'm not sure the 3 and 5 metre areas were any better than the fence on Saturday, so I think it might be more wind than track, because there were 100 to 1 pops coming up on the rail in the last and getting beaten half a length, so might be more of a wind thing than a track thing.
Okay.
Personal opinion.
Broadcasting live from out there?
Well, we're not broadcasting dead from out there.
From 10 o'clock? There could be a few that way. Plenty of vouchers to give away, so get out there and meet us in at the Hut, Broken Hill Hotel on Friday.
I don't get much activity on my phone, Mark, but the amount of people asking if you're going to be there Friday at the Broken Hill.
Every chance I could be a no-show.
There are a lot of people just wanting to press the flesh with you, Mark.
We have got a lot of vouchers to give away, but one of the things we're going to do right at the finish, there's a password that's going to flash up on the screen, and the first person on Saturday comes up to the Hut with that password will win a $100 Tab Touch voucher. That's the way it's going to end and then start on the Saturday. That's called cross-pollination.
Jeez. That's an early start. Gates open at 9.
Oh, they'll be there by 10. I'm tipping 1 past 10.
Those gates are open well before race 1.
Like $100 can be a decent bank for someone, can't it? You know, if you're travelling pretty poorly.
After that last winner, Brad, you might be there at 10 o'clock ready to rock and roll.
It sorts out a round at least.
Yeah.
This text line's going off. They're sinking the pitchforks are out for me after my tipping performance at the midweeks yesterday.
Wow.
I made tactics my best bet and that.
Oh, wow, yes. That was
went real well. Just needs blinkers.
The horses, Trevor's, looked sensational, didn't it, the one that race?
Yes. Sucker punch.
And it got out, yeah, King got out to, did it get out to about 320 or 340?
I think it was sort of around that mark the whole way through.
Was it?
Yeah.
We do need Brazer with a trumpet button for Mark, just obviously.
What have I done?
Best of the century. Oh, I know you had a fortune on it.
Who?
King Hit.
Oh, stop it.
I got the text message straight
Oh,
after the
yeah,
race.
exactly.
Shelling peas.
Now, race number 1, the Petaluma handicap. It's over the 1,400. Time to go 9 minutes past 1 o'clock. It's over the 1,400 metres. And number 1 is Snippy Witch, 11 into 9.52. Madame Magic, $9.59. 3, Miss Sky High, 5 to 4.80. 4, our Rocky Bay, 8 into 6. Number 5, Pro Latte, 51.31. 6 has been scratched. Profit Pocket. 7, Miss Rockjoy, 51 to 31. 8, Kalora, 20 to 17. 9, First Beach, 554.80. Go to 10, Annihilator, 81. 11 is Belgianie, is 34, and 12, God's Gate, 480 into 330.
The early meerkat, Mark. Scratching.
Yeah, apply.
Yep, about 70 cents. 600 at the 480 God's Gate, 500 at the 550 First Beach. More Eastern States Pro money there, God's Gate, 300 at the 370. And more sharp money First Beach there, another couple of hundred there at the 460. Miss Sky High is starting to garner support now. Plenty of 200 and 250 type bets there, Riles. And our Rocky Bay is the one that's just got a little bit of Eastern States Pro money piling up for it as well.
God's Gate at 1,400 metres. Bradley? Thoughts?
Maybe
Take the,
waiting to see if it gets a start in the...
Take the winkers.
That's it up.
Put the winkers on. My apologies.
And the blinkers, the blinkers on Our Rocky Bay. So the speed's going to be interesting.
Yes, it will. I do like one in the opener, Mart. Happy to get in early.
Mm-hmm.
Get one in the book nice and early.
Righto.
I do like First Beach on the back up here. I know William Pike has hopped off him, but last weekend he settled 3-back defence. As we know, I don't think defence was the place to be throughout most of the card there last week, and this horse, he just had absolutely no luck in the straight at all when he needed a run. It was as luckless a run as you'll see. You don't lose a great deal with Clint Johnson-Porter hopping aboard. I love the map for him from barrier 3. He's going to box seat that strong tempo with horses like Our Rocky Bay, Blinkers On, Drawn 6, God's Gate, barrier 1. You'd think they lead there as well. And I think he just about lands right on the toe ball of that pair, 1 out, 1 back. And I think he would have gone close to winning that race last weekend with any luck. And at the almost each way odds available now with Pike jumping off, I think he's an easy bet to have in the first race on the program.
Yeah, similar thought process, but different horse. Miss Sky High for me, I really liked its last start. I know maybe some people might have thought it had its chance watching it, but really off the way that race was run, the slow tempo, the way it found the line, really impressed me. So I think she's ready to put one on the board, Miss Sky High.
Is the drop back in trip any concern for you, 1,500 to 14?
I think I might prefer it.
Okay.
I just hope the little suck ping type run, Marsh.
Bit of suck ping.
So that's it?
That's it. First Beach, race 1.
Okay, with First Beach, and you're with Miss Sky High. These runners, now where are we here for race number 5 at Bunbury? We are 4.5 off, so we just about may hold it and have another look at the board, the Swan Draft Maiden. And they were in the Swan Draft can tunics. Fire the Guard, 18. Hyper Real is 850. Down to Surf Patrol 4 to 5. Fast Harry 250 to 210. Ranix is 650 to 7. They're the main players. Darren McCauley, probably one of the better tipsters going around in the industry, is tipping 9, 8, 2 and 10. What have you got over there? Come on, for Retrovision.
For Retrovision,
yes.
Nothing gets me in the mood for the punt more than when Brad says Eastern States Pro money.
Yeah.
Just gets the juices flowing.
The Pro stands for professional, by the way, not anything else.
What about sharp money?
Oh, the sharp money. I love that as well.
Drop the
One of my favourites.
later on too.
Duppy's back. He's still waiting for his fixtures, AFL fixtures, to drop because he supports Tasmania.
The Dupster.
He enjoyed Brad putting up the prices in the evening last night, as he's not really a morning person. I usually choke the chicken at 8 a.m, so I missed the prices. But yesterday I was bang on the money. Dupster is keen on Our Rocky Bay, Great Fortune, Storyville and Taropa. Hopefully get to the Broken Hill tomorrow.
Good.
But could end up like Art Session, I feel.
Now, our man from Maylands has weighed in as well, Bradley. He's firing in tips as well. He's coming off a bad week, but he's going with Miss Sky High. He's with you.
Good.
There's plenty more on this text line,
Yeah,
Mark.
let him come.
Jared from Scarborough missed last week's show. He was in the fetal position from Warp Speed in the Cup still.
Oof. Took a bit of recovering.
And he's enjoying these new raunchy ads narrated by a certain Wesley J.
The new ingratiating one I like.
Barbaro and ingratiating.
Yeah.
He says those adverts have your fingerprints all over them.
It's Wesley. He's one of the best. He invented the Barbaro ads, the creative there.
Those blokes are clever enough to wear gloves. There's no fingerprints, Rolls.
Fast Harry's now 220. Does this win Fast Harry or not?
I think so.
Here, yeah?
Yeah. I think so.
Right. Now, tomorrow, boys, we have got the Saturday Spring Trading Promotion. So the inflated price will be available from 8 a.m. each Friday through to race jump. Singles, multi and same race multi-bets placed via account or in retail are eligible. This week's runner will be Jimmy's Star in the Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes.
Wow.
You get the best odds anywhere in the world there.
Can win.
Can win. I'm another Will.
Me too.
All right, race number 2. This is out at Ascot on Saturday, the MCA Polytrack Handicap. And let's have a look at the markets brought to us by Tab Touch. And number 1 is Speak to Me, 460 to 350. Profit and Power is 14. Cobb & Co. is 23. Iceberg 17. Rock in Wonder 10. Stormageddon is 12. Ace Command 34. Amjad 650 into 550. Border Force is 550 into 5. Central Force is 26. Spect 5 down. Spect at 23. War Matters at 10. And Zachariah Bow at 61.
Eastern States Pro Money, Profit and Power at the $13. Speak to Me, 800 at the $4, 800 at the 360, Border Force 500 at the 550, Armjad 400 at the 650, Rockin' Wonder 300 at the $9, and a bit of iceberg snipping. Maybe owner related, who knows?
No text messages?
Not for this one, but they may get a mention sooner rather than
a bit later on, yeah. Interesting race, tricky race. One of the toughest races to dissect all day. Brad, can Rockin' Wonder cross them here? Is that how you thought this would play out? Bit of speed underneath.
I assumed so.
Yes, you'd think he'll burn to get across. Will be made to do some work with Speak to Me, Amjad, Profit and Power all drawn underneath. But you'd anticipate they get along at a good gallop in this race. Not overly keen, Marty. Border Force broke through last start to end a long time between beverages on Cup Day, coming from last to sweep home over the top in a very slowly run race. Reeled off the second best last 200 metres of the entire meeting there on Cup Day. It was a very nice win. Should have won, I'll say, 3 races this campaign. Border Force, the pair of runs prior to the last start, he was absolutely luckless. He's clearly going very well, going to enjoy a very soft run throughout here with some cover behind what, as we mentioned, looks a really strong tempo. And you can go a bit further back into his form, and he probably should have beaten home Royal Toronado 3 starts ago, who was just so impressive winning that 1,800-metre event. That Rockin' Wonder comes through last start as well. So I'm with Border Force. Not overly keen at the $5 available. Wouldn't mind a little bit more meat on the bone, but Border Force on top for me, and think Rockin' Wonder and Speak to Me are the clear dangers. Brad?
Share your sentiments. The more I look at the race, the more I want to be on Border Force. Had it a bet at $6.50 in the 95% market, so just like a touch better price. But yeah, as I just said, the more I look at the race, it's sort of the only one I want to be on, Mart.
Righto. Anything else to add? Because we'll get through these earlier races and spend more time on the big ones coming our way. On to race number 3 then, and this is the PKF Perth Handicap over the 1,600 metres. Time to go at 2:28, and let's have a look at Tab Touch's markets here. 1 Playhouse Patron is 34. Spec in Antique Miss, $464. Flower in the Wind is 51. Brave Spirit, $550. Watch Me Rock in terrific form, $330, $370. Above the Peg is 31 to 18. Here for Checks into 12. Alaskans out to 21. Atlantis Beach is 41. Bad Wolf, 101. Great Fortune, 5 to 440. So War, 41 to 26.
That's a meerkat.
No, it's not.
And there's a stare too, looking
well,
straight
it's just
at me.
I can't focus at the moment.
I'm riveted. I can't look away, Mark.
He's too sober. He's too sober.
Watch Me Rock, 900 at the 330. Can get back in the queue. 600, Great Fortune at the $5. 600, Great Fortune at the $440. Watch Me Rock, 500 at the 330. You also can line up again, my friend. Above the Peg, they've snipped away at this. There's heaps of good each-way money above the Peg, including large place components, local pro and Eastern States algorithm punters. More money there, Great Fortune at the $4.40. Good betting race.
Yeah, really good betting race. Watch Me Rock. Blinkers went on last start and he won like a horse who's got better things in store. It was a weaker race than this, but just the way he let rip and extended late, Marty, and just knowing that behind the scenes as well, Alana particularly has had a really big opinion of this horse all the way through. You just think that now he might be ready to really come of age and reach that level they've always thought he could. Huge tick for me up to the mile. He clearly wants further than the 1,400 metres, and he's a horse who should enjoy a nice midfield cover run here, with Pike opting to stick with him, importantly, over Antique Miss as well. Going to be interesting just over the first couple of races to see how the track has played early doors, Brad, because Great Fortune looks to find the front here with some weight relief from last start, and just looks to control things at her own leisure, really. She was unable to find the front last start after having to do some work from a wide gate, punch the breeze, and Fly With Caution was only able to still gun her down right on the post. On opening day, she led over 1,800 metres and held on what was a pretty off-fencing run sort of day as well. This just looks such an incredibly favourable map for her. She gets in on the minimum, and she's got the master of rating them in front with Bradley Parnham in the saddle as well. I'm looking at just seeing how that track plays early doors, but I'm looking at probably backing one, saving the other, with just a couple of little queries around two of the other more fancied runners in the field in Brave Spirit and Antique Miss.
Yeah, lovely race for me to watch and learn. I'm very respectful of a number of these chances in the market to want to really be taking them on. Only one of Antique Miss or Brave Spirit needs to get a nice run in transit to make their presence felt, I think. So Brave Spirit was easily forgivable last start, I thought. Missed the kick, did plenty wrong. Pretty strong through the line, likeable run. So just excited to see if Watch Me Rock can hold what it did last start. And the one thing I wanted to ask you, Rolls, who did you have in the breeze?
In the breeze, I didn't really have a breeze horse, Brad. I thought Great Fortune would roll them along in front on her lonesome, and you have maybe Bad Wolf above the peg and Here for Checks in behind her, which creates a nice little buffer for her, you'd think.
I was thinking maybe Here for Checks, maybe looking to take luck out of the equation this time and go to the breeze and stroll along, which does seem to suit the horse. It's a big striding horse and has gone well, even 3 wide no cover before, so maybe it breezes. But, yeah, I'm with you a bit that Great Fortune will get away with the bit in front by the looks of things.
Antique Miss is flying as well. Goes 1,200 to the mile on the quick backup. Maybe hasn't been the most ideal prep for her up until this point. And I'm just a bit worried, Brad, with her. Obviously, she'll get back from that barrier. But the sort of cart she can get into the race with the horses likely to settle back there around her that slightly worry me. Horses like So War, Atlantis Beach, Flower in the Wind, Alaskan even, they're not exactly horses I'm expecting to give her this lovely toe into the race if she does settle right at the back of the field. So that was maybe my little knock with Antique Miss heading to the weekend.
Brave Spirit, so winkers off, blinkers on. Probably a reaction to how lacklustre this horse was early. Missed the kick and then just was out the back by 2 or 3 lengths for a greater part of the race.
He might not have just been his best self after dipping out of the barriers.
Yeah,
you can probably put a pen through that run, to be honest. And also may not have handled the 7-day backup.
And it was a Group 3 as well, so he's dropping a lot in class coming into this race. So, yeah, forgive a good horse a bad run at $5.50. Could be a little each way go. I've got a stick. My sticker. Let's go to race number 4.
You're a sticky guy.
It is the Bisley Workwear. One of our favourites. It's over the 1,000 metres. We'll all be wearing Bisley tomorrow. Don't worry about that at the Broken Hill. 1 Catalpa, 101. 2 Bopping Blue. Now, this is a genuine 14 into 750. We didn't know about it.
When did that happen?
Divine Belief, 480. The Grin.
Didn't know about it.
$2.05.
Did not know about that.
Ruler Rocket is 23.
On?
Thomas Magnum is 18. And Tycoon Harry 51. Sunny Honey 34. Capray Omnia 26. All play 9 to 8. Never Sober 101, Wednesday 126, Lons Delete 91, Hang Glider 14, He's Gold is 81.
Oh, I've got the old blindfolded meerkat. This is the first. Where has this money come from? 2,000 Jokers Green at the $1.90.
Wow. I would have loved to see you as a imagine him as a rails bookie. Not only take their money, give them lessons on how to bet, and come back here, son.
Come on.
You want it again.
Have a real bet this time.
Divine.
And say, look, I'm going to actually twist it out.
Divine Belief 600.
And you can go again, champion.
Divine Belief 600 at the 460. Hang Glider 500 places at the $3. A couple of other $400 bets. Divine Belief at the 420 and 440. Oh, champions. Bopping Blue Eastern States Algorithm money. There it is, with a large place component. So that's why that market has capitulated for that particular horse. That's really about it. It's starting to pile up there for the Joker.
You're
plenty of rank and file.
You're letting the good guys back on.
What's your price, Riles?
$2.30, and that could trim up a bit if they've shown they can make a bit of ground up over the first 3 races.
$2.50 for me. What price did you have it, Mart?
Didn't give it a lot of thought, to be honest.
Yeah, look.
Just betting, just taking
just
any
bet.
price.
I'm not betting.
Okay. Not betting, not drinking. No wonder you're a shell of a man.
Yeah.
Pretty.
All I know is somewhere along the line, I think the 1,000 metres is going to get this horse beat. That's all I'll say.
There are plenty that share your opinion, yes.
Especially when you factor in a horse like Divine Belief, who has proper ability, is going to be at the head of the field with a 6-7 maybe length advantage on straightening.
I think there's a bit of a misconception that Joker's Grin doesn't step. He actually jumps all right. I think they've just been trying to get him to settle. He found his spot pretty nicely last start, and he does seem to be becoming more tractable with experience. Mart?
What's that? Got a text here from Lumpy. He said you should have gone up at 6-4. The Joker. That was my price. 6-4, Lumpy said. Okay. $2.50.
Pretty scary, though. He's not the finished product yet, I don't think, off his win first up.
Loved his work through the line and up the hill.
Wow.
This is clearly, up until this stage of his career, his biggest test, isn't it?
Yep.
Clearly his biggest test, but wow. What he's been able to do, and not just what he's been able to do visually, but the numbers and everything, the data is just backing it to the hills as well with him.
At the risk of sounding like Lord Nuffington IV, these are the sorts of moments where you're looking forward to being at the races with a froth in your hand, just excited to see how the horse goes in a race like this, in this sort of setup, where it's got a few things against it. I'm just looking forward to that moment.
It's got the text line fired up.
The Joker.
The Grin, #certainty, the Grin will just win. It's going off here. I like that. I like it. See, the punters are keen.
This is a good situation if you're a bookie, because everyone wants to be on him. So if you keep laying this horse, like Amelia's Jewel when she was here, it was all that rage, you're eventually going to get him. There'll be a Burgess Queen moment, won't there? Okay.
I concur, Mark.
That's radio, mate.
I concur.
Trevor from Thailand says, you lay, I bet.
Oh, they're keen.
Trevor from Thailand.
Now,
is that the name of an establishment over there?
Trevor's, it's
You
called.
lay, I bet.
Oh, how good. How good. One from Dutchy off the text line. Great start to the day, winning tickets to the cricket on the Sports Daily. Makes up for the lack of winners on this show.
On this show or their show?
On this show,
Dutchy.
he's gone with. Hearing rumours Digby is scared Pete O'Neill is showing up at the Broken Hill tomorrow, so he won't be able to wear his thongs. No need to fear. Just do what Brad does and pull those pants up a little bit higher, and he won't be able to see them. And he's assuming that it's buy your own beers at the Broken Hill tomorrow after McGinnity put up $7.50 for Taropa.
And he's still keen to lay it too.
Yeah, and he says you'll probably get all their money back with a 45 cents deduction on Cosmic Crusader earlier in the day. Hashtag be better at life.
Okay.
Scumbags.
Bradley for Maylands. We forgot these. Brad is texting. Have you read my text tips out yet? Sorry, mate. Race 2, War Matters. Race 3, Watch Me Rock. Race 4, Joker's Grin, Best Bet. So really looking for a little bit of value there.
Oh, never won't ever not be funny.
Right, we done? The Joker? Race 5, Colonel Reeves Stakes over the 1,100 metres. Won Western Empire, $2.60 from $3. Hot Z, 41. Did he win this last year? I think he did, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. Man Crush, 13. Snowdome is 10. Goes to Walk, 61. Boots Like Bruce is $15. Saloon Bar is 11. Almighty Class, $4. Kripalenko, 41. Rope Them In is $8. Capital Flight, 23. Rock and Rupert is 18. Now, as little birdie's told us that it's Raffman's birthday today.
Happy birthday, big
Raff
fella.
Barbaro. It's been a tough month, Raff, but you're up, you're about, you're still there. And have a happy birthday. Barbaro Butcher's small goods, you asked for him by name. So what are we doing in the Colonel Reeves? Where's the money gone?
My second favourite Colonel Reeves.
He's back too.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Clear number one.
They're bringing him back. Trump's bringing him back.
The Sandman.
He's bringing the old recipe back, apparently.
The herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Western Empire, 1,000 at the $3. You cannot have that again. Didn't get a meerkat for that, Mart?
No. I was surprised at the betting here.
Almighty Class, 400 each way at the $4.20. 200 by 400 at the $4. This is text message areas, isn't it? Another 300 each way there. Kripalenko each way money, 200 each way at the big price.
Why not?
Well played.
You'll be guilty.
Aside from that, Eastern States Pro Money, Rockin' Rupert, fresh.
Good trial. Brad, question. Does Almighty Class get to the breeze?
Eventually.
Eventually.
It might be 100 metres past the post.
I reckon it gets there, doesn't it?
Oh, I'm not as convinced as some are.
Right.
But if that is the case and Holly gets there without having to work or isn't posted deep, then I think I'd much rather be with him than with the favourite off the strength of his pair of wins this campaign. I've just got this bad feeling that something is going to really kick up underneath Man Crush, and Man Crush is going to really roll drawn underneath him, and he might be the one stuck out there doing all the work. That's my gut feel.
Yeah, I share your concern.
As a result, I'm happy to stay out of this race. I think I'd rather bet him than the favourite, but I'm worried. I've got my concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Western Empire's trials have been super. He's trialled like the very good horse that he is. Barrier 1's interesting for him. I don't think it's as much of a negative as some people might think, but you look back at his run fresh in the Joey last campaign, which was the big flashing lights run that the horse was back to something close to his best, but he drew an inside barrier there, and the bad luck he endured in the run cost him a win, or at least going very close to a win, and you might find that same bad luck on the weekend.
Mart, aside from the obvious answer of 100 metres, what's the difference between 1,100 and 1,200 for a horse like Western Empire?
Oh, it could be a lot. Could be a lot.
That's one thing that's in my mind. 1,100 is well at the bottom end of its distance.
You know, Brett Arthur's always, I remember he always told me this, that 1,100 metres is a specialist distance. 1,100 metre horses tend to be able to win them. 1,200 metre horses don't.
That's the concern for me for Western Empire. There are bigger fish to fry.
Yep, there are.
And they obviously had the option of going straight into the Winterbottom or going here, so we certainly don't question their judgment there because they are Hall of Famers at it.
Oh.
So.
I just think, looking at this map, Man Crush will roll forward, blinkers on, Brad Parnham.
Yep.
Snowdome will fire out. Snowdome Fresh will go forward from barrier 6. Boots Like Bruce drawn in 3. He stepped really well from the wide gate last start in the Prince of Wales. He was probably the first horse out of the barriers. So if you want the breeze, you're going to have to
earn it. But is he a horse that can now do that work, get to the breeze and stave them off?
Well, he's got that cruising speed.
Yeah, I think he is.
Beautiful cruising speed.
I think he's a lot stronger now physically and mentally.
Oh, 100%. And he's the only horse I'd want to be on in this race.
You know what you do? You go to the Broken Hill Hotel tomorrow and you get on the microphone and ask Holly and ask Mitch what they're going to do and tell us what's going to happen here. That's what you do.
And I'm going to pay someone to steal Mitch's mobile phone so those text messages
so you can send them out. All right. So no betting?
No bet for me. Almighty Class would be the way I'd go.
I'll be looking at a horse like a Saloon Bar or Rope Them In type, who I think are ready to go.
He's going good.
Both of them. And might get that suck ping type.
Ping.
Three wide sort of track when there's a bit of traffic and they're all sort of bunching and just might be able to explode late.
Saloon Bar has just been able to hold its form at that lower distance, hasn't he? Like it came back from the Farnley to the Crawford. Yep, got that. Then I thought, well, this next one's going to test you. 1,000 metres again at the Prince of Wales, but it was enormous.
What about Rope Them In back down to 55 kilos, blinkers first time? Well, I'm excited to see what sort of sprint it might unleash top of the straight when it gets...
Loves to see him ridden cold. Just ride him quiet, 3 deep cover, look for the moving line and then go bang.
Horses parading nicely here at Bunbury as well. Riles, can you give us an update?
I can. Mart.
Thank you.
It's You've got the Tab Touch handicap.
Certainly
and the favourite's one of yours here, Mart.
Roaming
Danger.
Wrong price though, isn't it?
320.
Yeah. Oh, it's got out to 320.
320.
It was 250 first call.
They're laying it. Yep. You lay, I bet, some of them say. Dreamtime Gene at 360. La Dette at $4. 4 Brave Shot at $6. Gold Keeper at 7 in from $11. Brave Shot at Big Drift at $3.30 out to $6. Magnum Class at 16. Argyle Star 34 and Shakerato, the younger brother of Maricino at $71. And they're in the yard parading around at the moment, Marty, and there has been a scratching. How Pretty went to the races yesterday and was in the market, so there has been some deductions, I would suggest, but Roaming Danger will start your favourite at around that $3.20 mark, I would suggest.
Okay, 9's got itself into a bit of a muck lather there. Is that the half to muck? Who's the 9, Riles?
Shakerato,
yeah. Yes. Certainly feeling the warm conditions. The race number 6, the Tab Touch, WA Champion Fillies Stakes, is the first leg of the Barbaro Butchers Quaddie. Get them in, punters, on 0427 789 571. You are really interested in what's going on up on that TV, aren't you? Yep. 1 is Earthstorm, 18 to 16. 2 Ron's Final Flutter, 4 to 390. Divine Impact, 16 into 11. Flower of Gold, 420 into 360. Storyville, 7. Heavy Metal, 23. Diamond Dancer is 6. Nickel Play, 10. Now, Cashel Palace, 41 to 19. 101, Rosie Can Run. Zucconi is 34. And Ginger and Tonic, 151.
Yeah, they're both about to be a bigger price. Divine Impact and Cashel Palace. Back out they drift. Upper fluck for them. Storyville, local pro money. Each way.
Be a fest.
Ron's Final Flutter. Couple of $500 bets there early. Another $400 there at Storyville. Earthstorm each way. Good support there. Aside from that, not a lot to support. That's Eastern States Pro Algorithm money rolls for Cashel Palace there at the big price.
How's the algorithm going?
Battling.
It's all pace related, isn't it?
Tends to go better for the dogs and the trots, is my understanding.
Okay.
Speaking of pace...
But they're millionaires, and I'm not.
Speaking of pace, do you see there being much here? Now that we don't have a London's Image?
No, it's the interesting choice of races to go to, isn't it, Ross?
Well, I was convinced they'd go this way. So I'm not sure how everyone else feels, but I was 90% certain they'd go to this race. They've gone the other way. So there you go.
And I think you're spot on. It takes a fair amount of pace out of the race. This looks more of a sit and sprint type affair than what the Burgess Queen was.
Well, the Burgess Queen being the key and traditional lead-up for the vast majority of these. I've been a big Flower of Gold man all the way along in all of her lead-ups. I just thought she was huge the way she finished off with the run she had in the Burgess Queen. I thought she was a superior run to Ron's Final Flutter and deserves to be shorter in the market. She screams like she's looking for a mile. As she's shown, she's just got proper change-up gears. I love the way she lets down, how powerfully she lets down at the back end of her races. And I think she just needs an unimpeded run from midfield cover to go mighty close to taking this out. I think she's a deserving favourite, and I'm happy to be with her. Ron's Final Flutter might be blessed drawing further out than Flower of Gold, Brad. If Brad Parnham can find her at that 3-deep cover run throughout, potentially on the outside of a horse like Flower of Gold, who might be between runners if the pace does slacken and we don't see as much tempo as there was in that Burgess Queen, which I definitely doubt we will. Just a couple out wider, I think, are genuine winning chances, and we'll probably chop out some of my, I guess, bet on Flower of Gold with this pair. I thought Divine Impact was a huge effort in the Burgess Queen. She never got cover. She was posted deep in a race where they were rolling along 10 lengths above bench to the 1,000 and to fight on.
In the Burgess Queen, were they?
Yeah.
Wow.
They were flying. And to fight on, beaten only a length and a half in the manner in which she did, I thought it was a pretty incredible effort. So if you do like her at the each way, I couldn't talk you out of her. I think she's over the odds at $12. And Storyville, who they opted to ride her cold from the wide draw. She just wanted to fight William Pike throughout at the back of the field, Marty, and she just looked to be bolting. Once they straightened for home, she was held up behind runners. I anticipate they won't employ those tactics here. They'll push forward with her. They'll let her run. And on that last start run, I don't think she'll have any problem seeing out the mile. That'll be no worries for her at all. And the key for her, if she behaves herself pre-race, she can get pretty fizzy and fizzed up. The earmuffs do go on. Mm-hmm. I think she has to be a massive chance with that Williams Camp polish as well, especially if conditions are favouring those runners closer to the speed.
Okay, we need to keep pushing on. So we were wrapping up on the Tab Touch Champion Fillies. Right, you got a tip. I think you're going...
I'm with the favourite, Flower of Gold. There's a couple at odds I think will run massive races in Divine Impact and Storyville. Brad, what were your thoughts on the race?
I'm concerned, like, if you gave every run out of the Burgess Queen, every runner, an even sort of amount of luck in running, that there might be, a length and a half between about 7 or 8 of them. So I'm very concerned with, not with the form lines in general, but with just really picking one out. So I will just watch and play some novs. And that'll be me.
Is there out wider coming not out of the Burgess Queen? So what about Casual Palace?
She'd be the one, I think, of those that don't come through.
Street Boss, War Chant Mare.
She had the run of the race and did the job in what's fair to say would be a weaker
one. Well, but this is massive elevation.
Okay, so it's the Burgess Queen. That is the form that we're using.
Yeah.
I don't like the race, the Burgess Queen. I just don't like it.
Haven't won that one, Mark?
No, I don't think I've had a runner in it. But I just don't like the way the race was run. And I'm not sure, can we trust the 1, 2, 3 out of it? Is there anything in behind them?
Plenty, because there was, as I said, with even luck, there's probably about 2 lengths between 7 or 8 of them.
I think I don't think it's going to be a race where after going so quickly they go below benchmark here and it becomes a real dash from the corner. I think horses like you won't see Storyville ridden cold like she was in the Burgess Queen. I think she'll roll forward and they'll let her run, given she tried to fight Pike the entire time. Diamond Dancer will lead. Zucconi will come across, I think, from barrier 11, led and won last start down there at Bunbury. So they'll have a crack there, I think. I could see a horse like maybe even Oh, look, Divine Impact going forward from barrier 7 to try and fight a spot in the first 4. I think it'll still be a steady gallop. I don't think they'll set any records, but there'll be enough tempo.
I think they'll walk, but we'll find out on race day. Things change, track conditions change, etc. Tactics change.
So you're Flower of Gold.
And I'm sitting on the fence.
Oh, you're the Splinters.
Splinters McGinnity.
Just on the breeding, maybe Ron's final flutter out of a Savabeel mare is going to enjoy that mile. And Dan Morton, very good trainer. Dan, we trust. Let's go to race number 7, the RJ Peters Stakes, 1,500 metres. Time to go 4:55. You can ask me about that one if you want. Maricino's 18, Admiration, and that's from 20. Oh, there is a scratching in Cosmic Crusader.
Shame. Out for the carnival.
Yeah, I know we shouldn't. I'm not joking. I'm just... would have taken a fair bit out of the market.
Was favourite, Mark.
Yeah.
Was favourite. I think around that $4 mark rolls when it came out.
$4 on the dot.
So Maricino, we won't worry about the fluctuations. Amber Gliders 950, Aztec Ruler at 7, Demolished 21, Investment Strategy 11. So a couple of big winners from this time last year in the race, Amber Glide and Investment Strategy. Love and War 330. Mojo Rhythm won the race last year, didn't it? 23, Russian to the Bar 10, Rusty Dreams 8, Yonga Lass 440.
We'll read out some bets anyway, just so punters can see who the Sharpies are on. So Aztec Ruler, 400 each way. Investment Strategy, large place component there. Rusty Dreams, Eastern States. Pros keen Rusty Dreams. Russian to the Bar was a massive go nationally, so we haven't copped the brunt of it, but other operators have, so there's been very good money there, Russian to the Bar. And Admiration Express has been a really good sneaky go out wide as well.
Yeah, well, race that's changed complexion, hasn't it, Brad? With a real key player no longer taking his position. And with that, I think Love and War is probably the best bet on the program, Marty, for me, on day one of the Pinnacles. I loved his trial leading in. I loved his first up run in the Asian Bow. You get Chris Parnham aboard for Troy Turner. I just love the way he extended and flattened out late through the line in that run in the Asian Bow, and I think that's probably the best form for this race as well, behind Super Smink. Blinkers go on. Was a dominant Belmont Guineas winner at the mile through the winter. She's the one I wanted to be with heading to this race after her first up run, and there's not a lot to suggest, particularly now with the scratching of the fellow Peters Investments runner in Cosmic Crusader, as to why I'd be jumping ship. So I think she's one of the better bets on the program. Love and War, pretty keen. I think the blowout result will no longer the blowout result, but I thought a good roughie was Russian to the Bar. Was just bolting, looked to be travelling when blocked for a run at the top of the straight last start behind Cosmic Crusader. Who knows how strong that form is. Now you don't get as good an idea, but Love and War for me, pretty keen.
Yeah, also concur it deserves to be a strong favourite, Love and War. The one I will back on a little hunch, Amber Gleday, our old favourite, Mart. Dong on first time.
Yeah.
We always like that as a little tick. Really think Amber Glide will be a good dong sort of horse too. So very keen on it to run a race. I've just got this sneaky feeling, Rolls, it might turn into one of those, you have those races where we've got Maricino leading, probably almost out by himself, Investment Strategy possibly on its back, and then, they sort of pull away in the corner. It becomes one of those three-back rails type or leaders back type of races. And Amber Glide might be in that area. Wouldn't rule out the old
Does she run a strong 1,500 metres, do you think?
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. I wouldn't rule out the old champ Maricino, Mart. Can carry weight and win in this sort of distance range at this track. So did it last year in a different race at 100 to 1.
Yes.
Showed a bit of zip in that 1,000 early.
Exactly, on his day. And it really does look like he'll be left alone in front, doesn't it, Ross?
It does. It does. It just, he can carry weight, but he's spotting some pretty nice horses, 7 kilos. For me, that's the big sticking point.
By Machino.
Cha-ching.
Having a good run.
Cha-ching.
I'm Younger Lass. I've just got...
Butchie got you on kickbacks now too.
Part of the pub.
Butchie,
the
if you're listening,
Butch,
I'm
part of the pub
giving
crawl.
serious consideration to coming out for a countermeal on Sunday just to get a feel for the place. Butchie, if you're listening, text if I'm on the right track here. And I haven't spoken to...
So get your worst bit of steak ready, Butch.
Haven't spoken to Grant at all, right? However, to my eyes, she wanted to over-race a lot early in the Asian Bow. I just got a sneaky feeling maybe she was a little fresh. They put the work into her. I don't mind her out wide. She can get a spot 3 deep or whatever. And
You've always been an out wide player, Mark.
yeah, I don't mind the out wide. So William Pike to ride. Yeah, I'm happy to be Younger Lad. Would it get out to $5 or something like that?
Yeah, why not?
I think so.
For me?
I think so.
Yeah, of course, mate. $5.50 for you.
Have it again. So you are making Love and War a best, Riley, into 3:30.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm ready on it as well, but we'll be on Amber Glide each way.
The Glide.
The Glide.
And I'll be on Younger Lass, just for a point of difference.
How's the quaddie, this quaddie competition?
Barbaro Butchers.
Reckon if you nail it, you just won't have a bit on yourself.
You know...
I wonder who this text is from.
What?
I always suspected Marty was the only one on the show with any idea whatsoever.
Did I text him myself, did I?
Is that what you were doing over there?
Does it say maybe Marty Young? It's not Ginger. She's not a texter. We go to the Tab Touch Placid Arc Stakes. It's over the 1,200 metres. $500,000. Oof. Wow. So Dream a Lot, 26. Keep It. Mystery is 34. These have all been spec'd. Angel's Impact hasn't, 126, but Repossession has 423.90. Charino into 12. Horcrux into 19. Wind and the Lion 350. Ripper Farouk 21. Matty Girl 11. Siren Assault 11. London's Image 19 to 15. Golden Kathleen is 34. Golden Veil is 34. Define Beautiful is 26 in from 51. Gold Flake 61.51. May Aloha is $12. And then you get to these emergencies. The well-spoken about Magna's Choice is 4.40 and down the bottom Skull, Bone and Pig at 8.50.
Mart.
Yes.
I'm feeling a bit like yourself when you're on that Thai holiday, that extended sojourn, and you walked out of the entertainment region.
Pat Pong Road.
I'm requiring some scratchings.
Come on.
And there's a few of us that are... We've got some futures tickets on a couple of these emergencies. And, anyway, trainers, get onto it. Golden Kathleen, $500 at the $34. Golden Veil, $300 at the 50s, if you don't mind. Charino, $300 at the $14. Not a huge betting race, gentlemen, because I think punters are just waiting to see that final field and how it transpires.
Yes. This race could still very much change complexion between now and Saturday morning. I think there'll be a few people up and about early Saturday morning with the old refresher,
yeah.
Doing the old the mouse getting a workout on the Saturday morning. But one thing you can expect though, Brad, I think, is that now obviously a horse like a London's Image comes to this race, Horcrux on the back up, Repossession, Barrier 1, the sparks will be flying.
We should get a tempo.
We should get a tempo in this race. I was all over Wind and the Lion leading into this campaign, admittedly, and I'm just not as bullish as I'd like to be off that first up run, and also the trial prior to that as well. His electric, his 400-metre jump out was just, I thought, wow, this could be a proper 3-year-old sprinter. His 1,000-metre trial, I just thought September Born dropped him a bit easy. I know how good a horse September Born is, but for a horse who's supposed to be a bit sharper than that, I just was a bit, maybe it wasn't as good a trial as what some were thinking it was. And then the first up run, he obviously played up in the mounting yard. You could see he sweat up badly behind the barrier. So he had used a lot of his energy before that. And he was still good, and he should improve for having that run under the belt. But he just didn't exactly attack the line like a horse that I just had to be on next start up in trip to 1200 to his grand final, which is a distance range we still haven't seen him race over before as well. So,
no, I'm with you. Sometimes the race shape can make things look a bit plain, but in that scenario, it didn't really savage the line, did it? So it's a bit of a concern, and I think Chris Parnham got off and echoed similar sentiments as well. Thought it was good, but maybe not quite what he expected.
If the first emergency gets a start, I'll be betting Magnus Choice. I think he could be really good on what he's done so far and just continues to seem like he's getting better. That huge rating maiden on debut, and then pretty easily accounted for God's Gate, who's no slouch by any means from the breeze, which I don't think suited him being ridden so close to the speed either, off how he finished off on debut. Dropped some weight. If Jared Noski could find that 3-wide cover line just sitting off what looks to be a strong speed, I could see him really launching late. Not sure what price we'll get about him if he was to gain a start. I couldn't really work it out whether if he is to get a spot in the field, whether he shortens or he drifts from that quote.
Big field, mixed form, lines, data. It's a bit all over the place with some of these steeds as well, isn't it, Rolls? So, very interesting.
Repossession, I thought deserved to be favourite. Off his win last start. I've always had plenty of time for this horse. Admittedly, can still do a bit wrong. But I like the fact that he's shown, even though he didn't step all that cleanly, he was allowed to muster through to lead, that he's shown Marty on debut that he still can take a sit in behind the speed and park in behind them and win and still perform to that level. I'd love to see the Gangemis, with the tough recent run that they've had, win a race like this. I think that'd be a great story. And with this horse as well, who was their horse who's been their winner over the last little bit, I think he can absolutely win the race. There's just a lot of uncertainty around this final field still, with a lot of these emergencies. Even Catch Carter's no impossibility off his last run. I thought his last run in that Prelude was huge. $51. Magnus Choice, first emergency in Skullbone and Pig. What a run that was. At E4.
Good. There's an obvious one to me, Mart, that's sort of being overlooked by everyone. Matty Gell, that's versatile, can settle forward, can settle back.
Well, it split those two, didn't it?
Just needs to not get on the chewy like it did 2 starts ago. And she's right in this. That's my clear each way tip for the race, unless emergency number 4 gets a run. And I think you'll be on that too, Mart.
Yeah, if we could get a run. It's a long way back, though, isn't it? The old Skullbone and Pig. What a Chirino. Was that just a fluke? I'd not have beaten Wester.
I just thought it got the world perfect run in a very sort of
Donga too.
Bit grey on the race.
The gap between runs concerns me a touch as well.
Was it fresh when it won or not?
Yeah, it was first up, no trial.
But it's tough to see that this setup as being by design.
And Donga, what's happened there? Was he only filling in for Shooter or not? No, he wasn't.
Maybe he's opted to ride for Trevor.
Yeah.
Wasn't a bad run last start by any means.
Interesting because Shooter was booked, I thought, on the toppy for a while when I was refreshing on Monday morning as well at some stage. So
bit of chopping and
there's
changing
been a bit
going
of
on.
merry-go-round happening.
Yeah, happens.
Yep.
All right, so you're waiting for emergencies. You like the Magna Graecia Magnus Choice?
I do like Magnus Choice, but no, not overly keen on the race overall, especially with this uncertainty at this stage with the emergencies.
Matty Girl for me, Mart.
Matty Girl.
And if
is that in the book?
Yes.
Wow.
Skullbone and Pig if it does get a start.
If it gets a run, geez, it's a long way back. E4. Couldn't imagine that, could you?
No, I'd be surprised. Actually,
I'm intrigued.
Hang on. Luke does have 2 in the race currently.
Oh, there's a lot to play, so just...
Trevor's got 1.
Yep. The last is the Jungle Mist Classic, 1,200 metres. First of the Mares Series. Baby Paris is 850. Live to Tell 31. Laced Up Heels 8 to 650. Carolee Rocks is 41. The Boss Ladies 550. Twain's Angel is 550 from 650. The Duchess of Gossip 23 into 16. Melcar Pindari is $16. And she been flying, the Duchess. Generosity is 12 to 950. Valency is 61. Bon Joy is 16 from 26. La Quetta's Gift 101. Sentimental Bell 13. Taropa 750 to 550. Noteworthy is 51. And then the emergencies are rough. Taropa.
I've been side-eye Meerkat. Meerkatted. That's a new one, the old side-eye.
Well, you've also been text Meerkatted as well.
Oh, well. Welcome to my life. Taropa, 200 at 750, 300 at 6, 300 at 650, 400 at 7, 800 places at 215, another 800 places at 215, 1,000 wins at 550. Baby Paris, 500 at the 850. Is that you, Mart?
Not yet.
Laced Up Heels, 400 at the 7, 400 at the 6. Another 300 Baby Paris at the 850. Generosity Eastern States Pro Money 200 at the $11. And the money is starting to build for the Barsh lady there. Starting to flow. Gee, fair to say if Taropa wins, I'll be...
Walking to Geraldton on Sunday. Hitchhiking.
Washing cars for shillings and pence.
How did that win a Melbourne Cup? Anyway.
What horse?
The Cup winner was in that race.
Oh,
Knight's Choice.
Oh, Knight's Choice. There you go.
What are we doing here? This is a good race. Finish it off.
What are we doing?
Swinging off Taropa, I'll give you
I
that.
know you are. That is what you're doing. It's got to be hard to beat. What's the knock on it?
It's not really a knock. It's in the mix.
knock.
It's in the mix in a really good and even race. All of the chances look to get the runs I think that they'll want to get.
Copy and paste for me. I have got pretty much nothing separating the trio at the top of the market as it currently stands. I couldn't really find an angle I wanted to take to go into any of them with any conviction. I did love the return of the Boss Lady, the Barsh lady, under the 60 behind Joker's Grid. Should get a gun run here. Drops 5 kilos off her back up to a much more suitable 1,200 metres. And if she could hold the back of a horse like Twain's Angel, who I think should lead, she's going to get a lovely cut into the straight to be able to pop off heels and come after them. Twain's Angel had her colours lowered for the first time in her career, but she did pull up with genuine excuses post-race and was still only beaten 2 lengths at the finish, really. So I thought, her trials leading into that run were outstanding. And if she can find the front and lead, and that hasn't been any disadvantage by this stage of the day, then no surprise to see her bounce back and win.
Not sure they'd be too scared about being stuck in the breeze outside of all metal either.
No.
Probably a spot you don't want to be at the 600-metre mark on the back of all metal, right?
Be surprised if all metal crosses Twain's Angel. Like, surely you'd just kick up and...
I don't think you come out humming on a horse like Twain's Angel after the excuses you've had last start. Maybe a bit more circumspect out of the gates, but they all seem to get the right run, don't they, the chances?
Taropa as well.
Yeah.
Second to Almighty Class at her past couple, and she hasn't missed the top 2 in 8 career starts to date. And she goes around each way odds, so, you know.
You're smart, Baby Paris. What are we doing?
Draw's a bit tricky, isn't it?
It is.
If it steps, it might be fine.
Blowout for me. One off the text line, one of our listeners has texted in and Gordo thinks that Valency's a blowout chance at $61. Good trial. I'll give you that, Gordo.
Has performed in the Fillies and Mares series previously.
Yes, I think if there is a blowout chance, it would be Bonjoy.
I was about to say Bonjoy. Trial good. I spotted the Sisu Warrior trial.
I love those trials. And she's a mare who I could anticipate could sprint very well fresh.
What's about Sentimental Bell? Blinkers on.
Gear change.
Cosmic Crusader form, isn't it?
Didn't get a lot of luck in that run either. Just think maybe.
What?
I don't know, maybe she's had her time this prep on those wet tracks when she was dominating.
This is why the market's how it is. There are so many chances you can make.
Good point you make there. Look at her on a good eight starts hasn't won yet.
Yeah. This is I heard the boys this morning on the Sports Daily say if you're behind by this stage of the day and you're looking for something to blast out in the last, good luck.
Well,
shut up shop.
Oh, no, you got to plough on. Find about 3 or 4 at double figure odds and
I'm sure we'll all have a live quaddie running by then anyway.
Of course we will. All right, Barbaro Butchers. This is the final leg of the Barbaro Butchers quaddie. Get them in. How they been, mate? 0427 789 571.
I would suggest that our producer, or our non-existent one currently, but when he does come in, he's got his work cut out for him. Good. I would say record number of quaddies are in today.
Magnificent. Everyone who's put a quaddie in, you're invited to the Broken Hill Hotel to Burrow racing on the road.
As is everyone who hasn't.
Yep.
And they're asking for Peng's tips. Where is the Peng? Is he coming to the Broken Hill
He'll be there. He told me. He promised me he'll be there. He can only stay for half an hour, isn't it?
What's happened to Purse as well? Purse has gone missing.
Yeah, he's got a new job.
Datesy's gone missing.
Datesy. Heard from Datesy during the week, funny enough.
The turf advisor.
Yeah, he said something about Bondi's son, 18 to 16, or 81 to 16, last Sunday, ran third. Right, let's get our best here.
Here we go.
Rylie Morgan. First.
Here we go. Day one, Mart.
Yeah, Pinnacles.
Pinnacles. This is it.
Is there a tipping competition involved in this? No.
No.
We'll do it next year.
No, we won't.
Horses in the Art of Bunbury. Get your bets on punters.
Best bets. Race 1, number 9, First Beach. I
Yes.
think is a great way to start the day. Race 7, Love and War is my best bet on the program in the RJ Peters.
Best.
And then race 3, I do like Watch Me Rock. And we'll be looking at trying to back and save with Watch Me Rock and the 11 Great Fortune.
Yep.
Joker's Grin, track pending. If they can make some ground, $2.30 is my bet price with him. And then in the Champion Fillies, Flower of Gold.
Okay.
And I think the best chances at odds, Storyville and Divine Impact, if you're looking for some value for your exotics.
Storyville's either it's got one in it or it hasn't. That's where you are with it, I reckon.
Fair to say, yeah.
Yeah. How about yourself, Bradley?
Another winner, it won't. Race 1, Miss Sky High.
Yep.
Going head-to-head with Rolls in race 1 again and hoping that I don't miss the bob like played last week. When Affluential got caught right on the line.
By the stone.
By
big hemlock.
Yep. Race 1, Miss Sky High. Race 7, Amber Gled Day each way. Race 8, Maddie Girl. Unless Skull, Bone and Pig gets a run, in which case we're back in both of them.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Indeed.
Beautifully done. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at the Broken Hill. Thanks for coming in, Brad. You've been fantastic today.
Thanks.
Terrific.
We hope you enjoyed another stimulating episode of Straight Up. All betting markets supplied by Tab Touch. All care, no responsibility went into the production of today's podcast.